Wait till you hear how Scotty lost half a finger.
I'm an aspiring beauty blogger.
I'm a raccoon.
I'm the voice inside your head.
What Dean Winters really is a pretty talented actor that you probably forgot was in Oz and 30 Rock before all those Allstate commercials. That career-defining part was the first acting work Winters landed after a lengthy medical ordeal that nearly killed him. Winters awoke one day in 2009 with a fever. The next day, his skin went black in his doctor's office, his head swelled, and he lost consciousness. On the ambulance ride to a hospital, Winters' heart stopped beating for over 2 minutes, making him technically dead. Once he was successfully revived, he spent 3 weeks in intensive care being treated for a bacterial infection. After he was sent home, gangrene developed and spread. Winters spent 95 more days under medical care, where he endured 17 surgeries. Doctors weren't able to save some of his body parts from the infection, and they surgically amputated part of one of Winters' thumbs and 2 of his toes. The actor told Page Six, "I haven't taken a step since 2009 without being in pain. I've got neuropathy on a whole different level where I can't feel my hands and my feet." At the very least, Winters is able to see the interesting side of the situation. He continued, "It's crazy if you look in the Webster Dictionary. The Old English definition of the word mayhem is one with amputations."
Mayhem like me.
A little too much like you there, Dino. Long before he first beamed up Kirk and Spock as Scotty in Star Trek, James Doohan joined the Royal Canadian Artillery in 1939. I feel like everybody knows this, but yes, Scotty wasn't Scottish. Doohan was Canadian. After being promoted to the rank of lieutenant and training for a while, he and the rest of the 13th Field Artillery Regiment of the 3rd Canadian Infantry Division were sent to storm the beaches of Normandy on June 6, 1944, which you probably know as D-Day. Doohan saw major action on the battlefield, eliminating 2 snipers and leading a squadron through an area riddled with landmines. On the night after the initial invasion, Doohan was shot by another Allied troop during a mix-up over passwords at a command post. An individual fired 6 bullets at Doohan, 4 of which hit his leg and 1 of which struck his right middle finger. Doohan was taken out of active duty and sent to a hospital in England, where surgeons started by removing the top third of his digit. He had trouble moving what remained, so he decided to have the entire finger amputated. Deion Sanders was one of the few athletes to compete at the highest level in multiple sports, playing Major League Baseball and NFL football during the same era. The defensive back and sometimes wide receiver went on to win 2 Super Bowls, be elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and since 2022, coach the University of Colorado's football team. In September 2021, Sanders had what he thought was a minor surgery to correct a nerve inflammation and toe dislocation. Weeks later, his 2 leading toes on his left foot began to turn black, sending him back to the hospital. The cause of the complication? 3 blood clots in the leg's femoral artery. Sanders was also diagnosed with compartment syndrome, which limited circulation to the foot, causing calf swelling and excruciating pain.
And they said, "Well, your foot has been dislocated for like 20 years now." I'm like, that's strange.
After considering amputation of Sanders' lower leg, doctors performed a pressure-relieving surgery and removed 2 toes in order to save his life. One of the most public-facing members in President Obama's administration, former U.S. Congressman Rahm Emanuel acted as White House Chief of Staff for 2 years. In 2010, he left the position to run in the mayoral election for his hometown of Chicago. Emanuel won in a landslide. Before his career in public service, Emanuel worked at an Arby's. Tasked with cleaning a machine used to thin slice roast beef, he accidentally cut off one of his middle fingers. Emanuel dressed the wound himself before he could receive medical attention, but still wound up with a variety of medical problems resulting from the amputation. As he told Katie Couric on 60 Minutes, "I ended up with 5 blood infections, 2 bone infections, gangrene, 7 weeks in the hospital, 105 fever, and was about 1 day away from looking at the other side of the ledger." Jerry Garcia was one of the most influential rockers ever. The singer and guitarist guided his band for more than 30 years, inspiring the jam band genre and the Deadhead subculture. It's safe to say most Grateful Dead fans know that Garcia played his instrument with only 9 fingers, but the story of how he got to 9 digits is pretty crazy. Garcia lost a finger before his musical career began in earnest due to a childhood incident, a game of chicken that went too far. His older brother Tiff recalled in a video tribute, things went wrong while they were playing with an axe.
And he did this. Put his finger there and then he'd take it away. Put his finger there, take it away. That happened a dozen times.
On the final swing, Jerry didn't pull away hard enough. He sustained an axe cut so deep that the finger was unsalvageable, so doctors had to surgically amputate what remained. One of the most prominent and high-profile Democratic politicians in the 1980s and 1990s, Bob Kerrey was elected governor of Nebraska in 1982, before moving on to the U.S. Senate in 1988. He even ran for the Democratic nomination for president in 1992 and won a state primary before dropping out. Prior to his work in government, Kerrey was a highly decorated officer in the U.S. Navy after fighting in the Vietnam War. Dispatched as a member of a 14-person Navy SEAL squad, Kerrey would eventually be awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor, the Bronze Star, and a Purple Heart for his campaign heroics. Kerrey's Vietnam service lasted for 3 months, ending after a skirmish with soldiers from the Viet Cong. 7 enemy combatants died in the violence, and a grenade struck Kerrey, the leader of the battalion. He was hurt in the chest, face, and groin, but his foot sustained most of the damage. Sent back to the Philadelphia Naval Hospital, the damage was so severe that surgeons amputated the bottom half of his right leg.
You come home and you think, God, I've just experienced this. How come all of you haven't changed?
You know Cole Porter songs even if you didn't think you did. He was as famous and well-liked as the singers who performed his many Sonny classics, including Anything Goes, I Get a Kick Out of You, and Night and Day. But behind the music, Porter's life was characterized by tremendous physical pain. Porter was an avid horseback rider, and in 1937 his animal became startled and trampled over his legs. He suffered compound fractures in both thigh bones, which invited the development of osteomyelitis, an often drug-resistant infection that settles in the bone. Porter submitted to numerous corrective operations over the following 2 decades, including a particularly harsh surgery in 1945. His legs were purposely broken, and 8 inches of leg bones in total were removed, with the remaining parts being fused together. In 1958, infections took over the bone marrow to such a point that the musician's right leg was removed from the thigh down.
You know, the name of Cole Porter is an American institution in music, and believe me, ladies and gentlemen, to all of us, Mr. Porter, you're tops.
Ronnie Lott was one of the greatest defensive backs to ever play in the NFL. He helped the San Francisco 49ers to 4 Super Bowl titles in the 1980s, earning 10 Pro Bowl invitations over his 14-year career. In 2000, he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Nothing really sums up Lott's dedication to the game like a specific 1985 injury. After he broke a pinky finger during a game, Lott elected against having pin installation surgery to reset the digits and take time off for recuperation. Instead, he had surgeons amputate the fingertip entirely. Telling the Associated Press about seeing his 4-fingered hand for the first time, he said, "I was trying to laugh it off, but I felt sick. It was just a total shock. I thought, oh man, I should have had the pin put in." A heavily hyped pitching phenom, Jim Abbott was named America's top amateur athlete in 1987. He won a gold medal with the U.S. Olympic baseball team in 1988, and after getting drafted by the California Angels in the first round, he skipped the minor leagues entirely to go straight to the mound. That's super rare for a Major League Baseball player. The Rookie of the Year candidate played in the majors for 10 seasons, where he won nearly 100 games, struck out almost 900 batters, and pitched a no-hitter in 1993. Abbott was an elite pitcher on every level, even though he was born without a right hand. He developed and perfected a pitching style in which he would hurl the ball with his left hand, then quickly grab his fielding glove from his right arm. One of the first and few professional athletes to play despite the absence of an extremity, Abbott has been cited as inspiration to former NFL linebacker Shaquem Griffin and soccer player Carson Pickett, both of whom were born missing hands as well. Erik Stolhanske met a group of comic actors at the improv troupe he formed at Colgate University, and they soon became the Broken Lizard Collective. Since the early 2000s, they've made a number of beloved cult comedy movies, including Club Dread, Beer Fest, and of course, Super Troopers.
I'm freaking out, man. You are freaking out, man.
Stolhanske only got into acting when he had to walk away from his goal of playing high-level baseball, which was tough to do with a prosthetic leg. The actor was born without a fibula, the smaller of the 2 bones that make up the lower leg. He told Pro Rhetoric, "It was just one of those genetic mistakes." As a child, Stolhanske wore a wooden substitute for the appendage, and he's since graduated to more complex models made of more advanced materials. Having to wear a prosthesis also prepared Stolhanske for improv and comedy. He was so self-conscious about the leg in college that he made up lies about his situation while flirting with women. One day, the story goes, it was lost in a motorcycle crash. The next, it was gored off during the running of the bulls in Spain. By the 1980s, Zsa Zsa Gabor was famous for being famous. Glad that never happens anymore. Anyway, she was an actress at one point, having appeared in a string of B-movies and early TV shows as glamorous and beautiful characters before eventually making a career out of playing herself in cameos, playing off her image as a self-aggrandizing celebrity and socialite who had gotten married 9 times. In 2011, Gabor's right leg was surgically removed by doctors above the knee. She was in such a poor state of health that she wasn't aware of the procedure and was unable to feel it because she couldn't use her hands. According to her husband and self-proclaimed prince, Frederick Prinz von Anhalt, Gabor took more than 6 months to realize that something was missing. Ella Fitzgerald is arguably the greatest jazz singer of the 20th century, and it's not much of a contest. She was the first lady of song who could handle any material she attempted. Over the course of her career, Fitzgerald recorded with and was praised by the likes of Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby, Duke Ellington, and Cole Porter. Fitzgerald's career lasted 60 years, and she performed well into the 1990s until her health prevented her from working as much. In 1994, Fitzgerald's spokesperson Mary Jane Outwater revealed that the singer had undergone 2 separation amputation surgeries the previous year. She endured complications of diabetes and experienced vision loss and circulatory issues, which made it medically necessary for doctors to remove the legs at the knee. She never made another public appearance until her death in 1996.